All right, guys, it's time for the Next Level Guy Show, a men's interview, interest, and improvement-focused podcast featuring interviews with the greats from all industries to help you better your life. Each week, a new episode features an interview with one of the greats, covering all aspects of their story, from life hacks to tips and protocols that have allowed them to live life on the next level. We then highlight concrete action steps that you can use to improve your life. And now, your host, Ian Dawson McKay.
And today's guest is Anastasiia Rybka. Anastasiia is a Ukrainian-American table tennis player and coach who started her career at the age of 9. She became the number one player in her age category, competing with different clubs in the Ukraine and represented the Ukrainian cadet and junior national team at the European Youth Championships. Her best rating was number 3 in the Ukraine at the age of just 16. In her last junior national championships at the age of 18, she became the absolute champion of her country, winning a gold medal in each category as well as participating in European Cups, representing the number one club in Ukraine, Nord. After completing a bachelor's degree in physical education and sport, she moved to the United States in 2014, where she competed in the US as well as completing her master's degree at Texas Wesleyan University. While there, she played for a table tennis team and they became National Collegiate Champions. She also achieved first place in women's doubles and second in singles. Rybka was chosen as MVP player for 2 years in a row from 2015 to 2016. Since being a professional table tennis athlete, Anastasiia naturally started coaching while in the United States. While still in Texas, she provided instruction and training direction to children in tutoring academies, to adults at the Table Tennis Club, and also helped in para camps where Paralympic players prepared for the Paralympic Games to represent the USA. She moved to LA in 2017 and has been coaching children and adults at Gilbert Table Tennis Club. And in this interview, we discuss her story, table tennis, the skills, brain and reaction time, coaching and competing, learning new skills, and so much more. And now, let's get to the interview. Thank you so much for coming on. It's a joy to have someone on who I've followed their career for quite a while now. But for people who maybe don't recognise you, how would you describe what you do? Because it's a brilliant job.
So I started to play table tennis when I was 9, and I became a professional table tennis player. And over time, when I moved to US, I started doing coaching more. In Ukraine, I was just a little bit coaching on the side from mostly like working out and playing professionally. And now I'm teaching people how to play table tennis, how to get better, how to keep their physical shape, and it helps with your mental health too when you play table tennis. So all of this.
Oh, nice. I heard initially that you didn't like table tennis, but you were dragged along to watch your brother play, and it kind of you fell in love with the sport. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true, but I don't remember. Did I tell that somewhere? Yeah, but that's true. When I was 9 or 8, my brother started playing already, and when we used to go pick up my brother from the practice, my dad and some other guy was like, "Oh, you lefty, you have to start playing too." And in my mind, I remember I was like, yeah, keep talking. I would never play. I remember that. But then I went to the practice and I didn't like it at first practice, but I was scared that my dad gonna be upset that I don't want to continue. So I just keep going, but I never regret it. It gave me a lot of opportunities to travel around the world, to compete, to make new friends and stuff like that.
So what was it about the sport, do you think, that made you fall in love with it? Was there a kind of a moment that you just thought, whoa, right, I'm actually really good at this? Because you've won championships after championships. You're a number one player in Ukraine. What was it about the sport that you just found worked for you?
So I think because I started at an early age, we don't really think too much about it. We just go and play. But I think what I liked when I went to one of my Ukrainian championship as a kid, and I was playing against the girl, and her coach in a timeout says, "Oh, she's number one here. You don't have to worry." And I was like thinking, "I'm number one here." Like I was not even thinking that way. So I felt because it made me allowed to compete and stuff like this, and it made me feel that it was going easy for me. And when I practice, I feel like it was maybe like gift from God that I have a talent to play it. And I start liking that I'm winning, that I'm playing good from childhood, and I'm improving fast, and I just liked it, and it gave opportunities to see the world. So I was excited to travel, to meet new friends and stuff like that.
So you're kind of
But
just doing it
later,
for the enjoyment of it, yeah.
yeah, as a kid, because at that time we don't think about like deep, like how does it work for my body and stuff like this. We don't think about it. But with time, like when you're already like 18, 19, 20, then you start thinking like differently, like what else it brings you except just enjoyment of traveling. Like how it's good to work to your body, for your mental health and stuff like that.
So how do you go from being just playing the game because you enjoy it to actually being one of the best players in the world? I mean, do you find how do you define your training? You know, what's your style training? Because there seems to be so many different parts of table tennis. You know, there's the
Yeah.
footwork, there's the lobs, the smashes, there's the anticipation, the cognitive enhancement, etc. How do you find
Yeah.
how do you set up your training to become so good?
So it's very important to, if you want to play well and be professional, very important to start training correctly, not just, playing without any, you have to have a coach who knows and teaching you how to do it. So for me, I trained a lot, 4 hours a day from childhood, like 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, and like this, like 5 days a week, a lot of tournaments. And we did a lot of workout, like running. Sometimes we played soccer just for our footwork. So you have to really put a lot of hard work as a kid. And from that, even when you grow up, you still have train, 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 because without practice and hard work, you're never gonna achieve successful game or something like that. It's not gonna
So
happen by magic. So
no, I like that. I
yeah,
like the sort of the cross training. You know, it's you're just enjoying it by playing the sport. You're not actually worrying about the tiny parts of it. You're just playing football to get better at your footwork. You're just playing
yeah.
it to become better rather than the focus on fixing these tiny little things. Do you have a way of learning these new skills? Because people were always complimentary about your lobs and your smashes, and they would say, "How is she so good at these sorts of techniques?" When you are learning a new technique, do you have a preferred way
Hmm.
of doing it, or is it just rep after rep? Do you break a skill down, or are you just enjoying playing it and you just add it to your game? How do you approach learning a new skill?
So me personally, or the way when I teach somebody, because when I
Have
was
you?
learning, I was a child, so I didn't pay much attention. It's like learning a language,
Yeah.
You're 9, you just do what your coach says, and you don't really think about what you like, repetition, not repetition. You just do what it said to you, like you listen to your coach. But as a coach, now when I understand how it's supposed to be, that is different. So I would say like this: when you learn some new skills, you want to make sure, like for table tennis, for example, like everything starts from the grip always. Like if your grip is correct, it's because you're gonna use it for all the movements you're gonna make. Like regardless, is it the lob or spin or drive or chop? Ideally, you have to have the same grip. Not everybody have it, but the more you change the grip, the more harder to play when ball is all over the place. Like when somebody play randomly in the game to you. So you want to make sure like you get basics like forehand drive, backhand drive. You follow the technique guidelines from your coach. That's like a lot of repetition, obviously, because without the more you repeat, the more muscle memory you have in your body, then you don't have to think about your technique anymore. Like in the beginning, for people, for example, who learn it in later age or they played before and they already have bad habits, it's harder to relearn, and they have to think every movement they make about what they're doing. Because if they don't think, they're going to be doing automatically how their muscles remember. So they will keep repeating incorrect technique. But if you keep repeating over and over, your muscles start changing it and remembering new ways of playing. And then you don't have to worry anymore about, let's say I don't think how exactly I'm doing the movement or anything, because it's just natural already, because my muscle learned it.
So
So
how
what
would
was
you so how would you take somebody who's just starting and
uh-huh.
coach them to go from barely being able to hit the net to doing these fast drills and stuff? Is it just that building that muscle muscle memory, that repetition of, because your games are so fast and explosive, and you think you've missed a shot and suddenly you're smashing it from miles away, and then you're at the court, the net, you're doing all these transitions that are incredible. But
Yeah.
how do you start a newbie building that up? Do
Yeah.
you get them to kind of just stand and you play it to build up these little sort of backhand, front hands, just to
Yeah.
get them used to the basics and the fundamentals?
Yes. So that's what I said before. First, they have to get basics, a lot of repetition, working on their footwork, learning different ways of moving around the table. And in order to become like better and better, it of course come over time. Let's say you learned one part, basic, like let's say backhand, forehand drive, and then you can transfer to spin already. So then you're gonna start learning how to spin the ball. When you become consistent in spinning the ball, you learning speed. You're adding more speed to the ball. So then you have more power to play and have more power in your game. And the more better you become, the more you expand different exercise, and that's how you get more powerful, more stronger. And in my opinion, personal opinion, like every person has level of talent as well in everything they, like somebody can sing well, somebody cannot sing well. You can learn it, but um, let's say I would give that example. I don't know if it's gonna be smart. But let's say two two people, let's say singing, let's say Whitney Houston and Selena Gomez. Both of them great singers, but the level of voice is everybody has different, right? So let's say no matter how Selena Gomez is gonna train herself, she's still gonna be a good singer, but she would never have the voice of Whitney Houston, right? So in that case, like in table tennis is different. You can have a talent and you can don't use it and don't train hard, and somebody who has less talent, less flexibility in the body, they can train hard and they can be better than you because they trained more. But if both of you train hard, do the same things, like you say, why I can never beat that person? I train hard, I do this, I practice everything the same as that person does. Um, like same thing, we do the same things, but why I never beat? Because sometimes some people have more talent in their body, more flexibility, more power already naturally. So because you do the same things together, the person will be dominating a little bit because of what abilities they were given from start in their body. So that can be too as well, additionally to training.
That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. When you initially started playing in the Ukraine and you moved over to America, was it 2014, I think?
Yes. Yeah.
How did you find that transition? How did you find the difference in the style of the game, living in a different country, starting like your education as well at the same time? How did that transition from just you just growing up and playing the sport because you enjoyed it to actually making it more of a professional side of things? How did you
Yeah.
find the transition from the Ukraine to going and training in America to doing your education? How did you find the style of play difference, the
Mm-hmm.
living away from family, that sort of thing? How did you find that transition?
Okay. So let's start about planes. Like the difference between, for me, because I went to Texas Wesleyan University in there, most of our players in the team who we train with, they were from different countries. So most of them were not American. So all of their play style were similar to European style. So it was kind of
Yeah.
the same to me, right? But when I was competing at the like US Open or stuff like this, where it's Asian style of game, yeah, it's a little bit different because they faster. Some players, they have different technique, more closer to Chinese technique than to European. So I wouldn't say it was difficult to transition for me because I competed in Ukraine against different countries and different level of play. So it just was, I would say, I don't know if I even should say it, but like because in Ukraine there's not so many Asian people competing, right? So in America, a lot of, if you look at the table tennis tournament, a lot of Asian people. So the way you feel mentality sometimes, like when you have from childhood, Chinese are the best, right, in table tennis. And when you see a lot of Asian people, your mentality always thinks you don't even know how they play yet, but in your mind you think, oh, they're good, even though some of them may not be that great. That's sometimes it's not a very good way to think because then you mentally set yourself like, you know, expectation from other people that they're gonna play better than they are, and it can influence your performance. So you have to forget about thinking and just look at the game. And transition from living in Ukraine and America. I mean, in the beginning, it was for me interesting because I always wanted to see United States, how people live. Like, I would say people were very friendly. And when I moved, for me, it was first like weird because in my country, we all kind of more careful with people who we don't know. If somebody walk on the street and you don't know them
Yeah.
and they start talking to you, we might suspect what do they want from us, right? And when I moved here first, I was thinking, why everybody say hi to me? Like, I don't know that person. But then you get used to it, right? And when you get used to it, that's much better because people more friendly, they want to help you. Like, you know you just came from different country to introduce you to their country, feel more comfortable here. That was my experience in Texas. And I think when I moved from Ukraine to I first had traveled basically. When I started living in America, there's a lot of people who helped me to be here basically, like including my scholarship for table tennis, playing for the university. So I'm grateful to a lot of people who I met back in Texas because without them, maybe I wouldn't be even here. So, yeah.
But how then did you get over that kind of worry about how, like other people being better, or how do you avoid comparing yourself to other people's styles and you just focus on your own game? Do you have a way that you kind of shut out the noise and you can just be yourself when you play?
So, table tennis, like any sport, it's very important your mental health, like the way you think while you're playing. And of course, during the game, you have a lot of conversation with yourself in your head.
Yep.
For me, it's constant. Like you play the game, you have to tell yourself, like, I would say like when I was younger, it was much easier because when younger, you believe in yourself more. It's in my case personally. When I was 15, 16, I believed like I can do anything. I can beat anybody. Like I can be Olympic champion right now. Like anything can happen. So at that way, I would even say, I think I was competing and playing better because I had no fear of somebody being better. I had excitement to beat somebody who is better than me. So mindset is very important. But when I got older, it's kind of changed to thinking, oh, what if I lose? What if I lose? Or it's embarrassing. You start, I think when you get to a specific level, you start thinking that you cannot lose. Like if you lose respect of other people. Like that's how you start thinking sometimes. Like you
Yeah.
cannot, like you show good results, you just have to keep showing it because it's harder to keep yourself at the good level if you are people expecting from you to be first or whatever you do. And if you cannot show the same results, you have a lot of pressure on yourself when you play, knowing that you have to deliver this result. And like parents or your coaches, they're expecting this from you. So, and let's say when you play in the game with somebody and let's say they're better than you, I would say most of the players would have less fear because they have nothing to lose, right? Like if you play with somebody better than you have opportunity to beat somebody stronger and get higher rating and stuff like this. But another thing, when you play somebody same like you or worse than you by level, then I think that's when you worry more, because then your expectations are higher from you and you cannot lose in your mind, right? So in that case, you have to try to, if you feel like you're talking negative to yourself or you lose confidence or something, you have to try to shut it down and just think positive and think about your best game. Sometimes I even visualize, let's say if I play a game and my game doesn't go well, like I'm playing and I don't feel really my 100%, I sometimes what I do, I imagine that person who I play against somebody else who I like to play against, let's say, and I imagine that I'm playing against that person, so my game automatically gets better for me because mentally I'm thinking about it's not that person, it's somebody I like to play against. So it's one of the ways I'm using this tactic to help me sometimes to play the game.
I love that. I love that kind of mentality that you've understood where, that maybe fear or your mental health kind of can affect you, and you've figured out a way to incorporate, like maybe cognitive behavior therapy training and stuff like that to beat people, and to be able to do that at such a young age and do it so well is amazing. How do you think the experience of training with so many people from different nationalities has helped you understand? Because I think you coached players with hearing disabilities and things like that as well. How do you think your experience with, some of the international style, the Asian style, all these different people has helped you become a better player and understanding the game on a deeper level?
So I think when you play with a lot of people from these different nationalities, different way of playing, you get different experiences because every player, like some countries, like let's say Europe and China, it's different styles. Like when you learn how to play against different styles, I think playing with different people, different part of the world helps you to learn more about the game, because all of them put some new things that you, let's say, haven't seen before, and you learn from everybody a little bit here, a little bit from China, a little bit from Europe, a little bit from Africa, and stuff like this. But I think I'm stupid. I don't know.
Do you think it's like maybe like a buffet? You get to take a bit from everywhere and add it into your game. So it's not a particular style; it's a sort of mesh of table tennis. It's a little bit of everything, and you add your own individual flair to it.
Oh, it sounds good. I wish I could say it like that. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say, like that. I think it's right. Yeah.
So how then do you find the transition from Anastasiia, the badass, the champion, the winner, to Anastasiia, the coach, you're now teaching other people? How did you find coaching people with disabilities, people who are preparing to compete at some of the highest levels? How's that transition from competitor to coach been?
Well, I like the most what I enjoy to work with people who really want to learn how to play. When they get better, it makes me happy and it makes me want to teach them more. It's like when I see results, but all the people, they have different ways what they want. Some people just play for fun. Some people play for improvement of their health, or keep, like, some clients of mine have like business and they play, and table tennis helps them not to have it. So everybody has so many different reasons they play. But for me, it's the most exciting, what I like the most, to teach people who are going to compete. Because I think through them, I'm myself competing against that, because I really love to compete. So I want to know how did they do. I want to train them hard. I want to make sure they do everything like I used to do when I was training. So people who are competing, I'm not going easy on them. I'm going them like a professional. Because some people see it as a hard approach, because you always want to see what person exactly wants, because if you make a mistake and you go too hard on them, because that's my way of coaching, because I want to see results, right? But some people, they don't really want the results, just want to play for fun. And you can push them too much and they can sometimes get like, oh, it's too difficult for me, right? So then you have to make sure that you understand what they're looking for. So you slow down yourself a little bit in the coaching and just try to deliver what that person looking for specifically. But tradition in general, I like it.
And do you find it difficult because before you could play for fun, you could play for enjoyment, and suddenly you yourself are a brand, you have to sell yourself in a way to attract clients, to get them to train, their abilities reflect on your success as a coach. Did you find that difficult, being having to sell advertise and be a businesswoman compared to just an athlete?
I would say, like me being an athlete, it helped me to get my clients, because if you already made your name basically in that sport as professional athlete, as somebody who knows about the sport for 20 plus years, it gives you more opportunity, because other people see your competence and they want to take those lessons. It's kind of, I don't know if it sounds too much, but I would say it's like your name working for you. That's how I would say.
No, it makes sense.
In my field, I'm not like saying that I'm somebody somewhere, but in the field I'm doing it, that's how it is. So yeah, but I would say I miss a little bit of competing. Not a little bit, I miss it. But in my plans right now, I hope I'll start training more soon. So we have a new league in US, Major League Table Tennis. So they just finished their first season. So I'm planning, if they're gonna pick me for the second season, I don't know, but that's what I'm looking forward to travel again, compete, and still coaching.
I love how your plans are to continue to dominate, coaching, playing, you just doing it for the love of the game.
It's time for a quick break. There are millions of potential products to buy, so how do you know which ones are worth your hard-earned money? Simple. You go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and explore those that will transform and improve your life. You'll find deals, listener exclusives, and special offers with some great companies. Recommendations are 100% honest and only on items Ian has tried or believes in. The companies showcased will make you a better man in all areas of your life. Simply go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and level up.
So what do you think makes somebody go from okay to excel? Because you've coached some amazing people, including Justin Bieber. It's not often people can put that on a CV. But what do you notice about the people who are the best of the best? Is there something about their approach to training, or the people that you've coached, that you think makes them so good?
So, as always, is practice. A lot of work, because, like, as always, they say the same for anything, hard work pays off. So you have to make sure, like, you implement all the exercise and specific trainings that your coach gives you. You try not to be lazy doing things. And for table tennis, you have to compete a lot. You have to travel to competition to get better, because if you just training and do not compete, it's going to be hard to excel and be so good, because competition and training is a little bit different, because mental health comes in the picture as soon as you go to competition. As a trainer, you have nothing to worry about. And then if you're not ready mentally, at the tournament, you're not going to show a result. You can be good at the practice, but in order to be better, you have to really play competitions, train a lot, making sure you do physical exercise separately from table tennis. So all the same things like for every sport. Work hard, play better. That's what it
That's a great way. I think that's the
is.
tagline of this interview. And what did you learn about yourself by competing? Do you find you have a set way that you like to eat while you're competing? When you
Yeah.
travel, to make a hotel room a base for yourself, do you have a preferred way of warming up, of getting yourself mentally ready? How do you think you get better at competing? Is it just competing and getting the experience, or did you find a way of approaching competitions that worked best for you and your clients?
Okay, so I would say like it's very important what you eat, and before competition, during competition. For me personally, I'll start from myself. So when I used to compete, um, um, for me it was important that I go to bed on specific time at the hotel because most of the games start early morning. So you want to make sure you feel refreshed, you have enough energy because let's say you're a kid, there's no parents to watch after you. You can do whatever you want basically if your coach doesn't know, but it's all already on you how you responsible for your game at the tournament, right? So because I wanted to play well and I wanted to have a result, for me it's important to go to bed not after 11 p.m. if you're at the tournament, right? Wake up like at 6 a.m. So me personally, I never ate breakfast before the tournament, but for everybody it's different. Somebody cannot play without food. For me, if I eat and I go to play, uh, like I feel sleepy. I don't feel energized. For me, I like
Hmm.
to play when I have no food in me. Like so, I feel that way better. Like hunger, anger, competition, like that kind of thing. Um, so that way you can focus really on your goal, right? And during the tournament, I suggest to my clients and what I was doing to eat like stuff like banana. It has potassium and chocolates to keep your sugar level. If let's say if you didn't eat in the morning, you want to make sure you have enough of everything. A little bit snacking, water. I'm against like any drinks like sodas at the tournaments or any juices with a lot of sugar because I have a lot of sugar. It's too much. I'm like water. Some people can add some electrolytes in there, stuff like that. So, and of course, in general, just healthy diet throughout just living in general. But that's what about diet? What else was there?
Yeah. So then, how
It's
do you, like, when you turn up? Are you doing a specific warm up that lets you mentally enter into the combat zone, to get ready to compete? How do you go from being the nice version of yourself to the competitive athlete version of yourself? Have you
the
found a
real me.
way? Yeah. Have you found a way to flick that switch, so to speak?
Yeah. So for everybody, again, it's different. Depends on the person personality. Somebody can be calm and play well. For me, I need to be angry in my mind in order to play my best. Like, you can even notice, like, let's say, I think like people who real athletes they understand more compared to people who doesn't play completely any sports because let's say I have an example. I played game with Adam on YouTube. We have some games, and some
Mhm.
people would say I'm not like getting upset about this or it's everybody's opinion, but they would say, "Oh, she never says to him, oh, nice shot or nice this." For me, it's a competition, right? I'm not doing like in my mind is not an entertainment completely because entertainment is the whole video, but for me the game itself is a competition for the win. That's how I see it, and I'm not interested to compliment in tournaments or anywhere somebody for their game. I'm interested on focusing on my game, what I do wrong, what I do right, how do I have to win. My mind focus on myself at that moment, not on my opponent, how great they do things. Yeah, sometimes it can be amazing points, and yes, this is you have to be like, oh wow, it's good, right? But uh, personally for me, when I play, to from regular life to put myself on like competing and this, I have to think only at the moment about me. Like when I compete, about me being like watching what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, focus only on my game instead of constantly focusing on how good he plays, how, because that way um, you cannot kind of fix your mistakes if you're constantly thinking about somebody else being good or what they're doing not good or whatever. But you still have to know in the game what their weaknesses of that person, so you will be able to play correctly against them at the tournament.
I like how you figured out, that you play better angry, so you get into that mindset, and you can understand that focusing on yourself rather than comparing yourself to others works best for you. That
Yeah.
especially still at your young age, and that is a great way to understand this, because a lot of people can be great players but terrible. Like if you've got an internal prison where you're comparing yourself considerably to other people, you can be defeated before you even step on the court. And I like your style of playing. Yeah, so how do you review your training with your clients, with your, how do we like measure if we're getting better? How do we know if we are improving as a player, as a competitor? Is it just looking at wins, or are you looking for technique upgrades? Are you looking for anything particular? What's your measure of success with your clients?
So when I train my clients, how do I know they get better? By, first of all, improvement in the technique, the way they do the movements, improvement in their footwork, if they start moving faster, consistency is number one. Like if they get inconsistent, putting more balls on the table, how to get to there to be better and better. It's again the same thing. They have to train, but the only one problem is with clients. Some of the clients, it can be that they don't train enough. Like not everybody have opportunities to train, 2, 3, 4 times a week in order to be good, right? Because that's how much you need to play. So some people play once a week. When you play once a week, progress is going to be much slower compared, of course, if you play 2, 3 to 4 times a week. So that they have to expect, like, those things. But some of my clients train themselves. They have robot machines. So I give them some drills to train at home. Some of the clients I give who just beginners to do imitation of the technique in front of the mirror. So do some extra stuff when we're not playing so they can get better and better. While, let's say, we don't have opportunity to play some days, so they can use whatever they have at home, either working on their footwork or imitating in front of the mirror technique. And of course, the result, like if the person start playing games, they start winning, they're getting better. So that's how it is.
I like it. And what would you say to people if you've had a bad training session, if you've had a bad match, a bad competition, whatever it is? How do you kind of reset? If you're playing angry and you're upset, and you've had a bad game, how do you reset and recalibrate yourself to go back in to carry on the success you're used to for yourself?
Well, let's say if you lose your games and you have to play, let's say, next tournament, and in your mindset is like, oh, what if I had it before. I had experience when I used to play. I played 2 last tournaments not very well, and my mind I started having thoughts, oh, what if I will never win anything anymore? What if I never play again good? And this is not right thoughts. It's not real. You just think negative like this. So what you have to do, you should just, again, shut it down and focus on, think about your best game you've done, like best tournaments you won. Try to transfer that thoughts on a positive way. Think about how good you played. So the next tournament you have mindset of thinking like, yeah, I can do it. Because if you constantly dwelling about every tournament you lose, you might possibly continue losing if you keep thinking about, oh, I lost, I'm gonna lose again. You're basically setting yourself up for a loss if you're thinking that way. You have to try to change your mind of thinking positive about the next tournament.
And I know we're sort of tight for time today, but I mean, I'd love to have you back on and go into sort of the deeper nuances of everything. But what do you think somebody should be if they come to you as a client? You know, like, how can we come to you as the best student possible?
So I would say, as I mentioned, I love to train people who are really interested to improve, who listens. It's number one, listen to what I'm saying when they training, who doesn't question or doubt my knowledge by saying, are you sure it's gonna go like this? Are you sure? When the people do that, that usually is people who will have less chances to improve, because if you come in for coaching, you have to believe that unless like you don't consider that coach good, then it's different. But if you want to really learn and be a good player, you have to listen to your coach, right? You have to listen to what they tell you to do. Don't doubt their knowledge or what they tell you to do, because my best players who I coach, it's only those people who listen the most, who do all the exercise you say, who just follow the whole program of the training. Those people play the best. People who doubt, who question, who not sure if it's right what you're saying, that's not the right approach to do your training. So that's my suggestion for anybody, like in any sport, not only table tennis. If you try to learn something, listen to your coach. They're there to help you, to guide you, to fix your mistakes. They're interested in you to play better. That's the first thing. Like me personally, I am interested that my clients play better because it makes me happy when I see they progress and they play better.
I love your mindset, and I love how you're just doing it for the joy of the sport. You're not doing it for success. You're just doing it to make people better and enjoy the game. What would you want your evolution of coaching to be? Like, you know, where do you see yourself going? Are you looking for the Olympics, to compete yourself, to win more successes? Are you just wanting to just keep getting better and better as a coach, do you think?
Well, if I was 15, I would tell you I'm going to Olympics, but now I don't think like this right now. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, deep in my head, I'm still probably that 15 years old girl who thinks everything is possible. But I'm being realistic right now. Like, my main goal right now to come back to training again, to try to learn to compete again at that league that's gonna be happening soon, second
Yeah.
season. That's my recent goals, and continue my coaching career the way it is. How do I see it evolving? I started my website that I provide online coaching for people around the world. So that's my another goal, to train people not only in Los Angeles or US, but to help people, to share knowledge with them around the world and make programs for people from different countries. I think it can be fun.
And what?
Yeah.
So now's a perfect time to sell yourself as a coach. You know, you've won championships. You've won I think you won every level that you played at, and you got a gold medal in some competitions. You know, on the same day, you've coached some of the best people ever. What would I get if I signed up to coach with you? You know, like, say if somebody's listening that wants to learn from you, what would we get having you as a coach?
So if they hire me as a coach, first of all, they're gonna be first learning new skills is always good. Then making sure. No, let me think. I need to think. I didn't prepare for that. What do they get?
I mean, what do you think makes you that coach that you can make them better? You know, why do you think you've been so successful as a coach? Why should we hire you compared to others?
Well, I would say like this: for every person likes different approaches. I'm not against people. Everybody choose what they want, right? Like if somebody likes the way I coach, if they enjoy to really learn, because I can provide to people real practice that can, like for high level competitions, something that I was doing myself. And at the same time, again, as I said before, every person looking for different results. So whoever wants just to work on their physical body, make sure they stay in shape, that's good too. But, like for me, it's hard to say like, oh, choose me because I'm the best, because I don't think so. I think I'm good. And I think there's a lot of good coaches as well. And people choose what fits them the most. So if for people who wants to learn and improve their game and feel better about their bodies or whatever. And I know a lot of people who has like Alzheimer's or dementia or Parkinson. It's very good sport too. It helps them to feel better mentally and improving their memory. Let's say I know one guy who has Parkinson. He played table tennis and his shakes and all improving. So it has a lot of different ways why people should be playing table tennis with me, with anybody, whoever, just even with their friends. Yeah, I'm not a good salesperson, I think.
No, I think just the joy and the fun that you get out of playing and just from watching your videos makes people realize that you love the sport and that enthusiasm encourages other people to play. What would you want people to remember about this? Like what would you want them to take from this interview about you, about table tennis, about just your journey, your passion? Is there a way of summarizing this, do you think?
Yeah, I need time to think about it. A way of summarizing all of this, God.
Because it is amazing when you think that you're translating what I'm saying into Ukrainian, and then you're kind of thinking of how to say it in English. And how do you think the journey, like when you look back at everything, how would you summarize your journey into table tennis, do you think?
But I would summarize this way: thanks God I started to play table tennis, and it helped me to stay in shape and be in a country that I like as well, and have more opportunities, have opportunity to meet new people even like celebrities, actors, singers, meet new people that I would maybe never meet if I didn't play table tennis, and keep my mental health in shape, because if I feel upset or sad, if I play table tennis, it removes it from my mind. And just my advice for people who maybe never even played table tennis to try it and see that it's full body workout. It's good for any age, for everybody. So, and maybe they can put their kids to play, and one day they can do the same thing as I do. You never know.
Love it.
And enjoy.
And where can we find you, and where can we sign up for online training? Where can we get your programs? How can we find you on social media? What's your links and your website and your coaching, etc.?
So I have my Instagram that you can follow. It's Anastasiia Rybka _ML. And I have my website. It's www.tabletennisbyanastasia.com. So you can sign up for your lessons there if you want. I have online lessons, private lessons. We can do group lessons and home lessons as well. So that's my 2 things.
Well, that's it for another week, and thank you for listening. It's now time to take what you've learned and use it to develop and enhance your life with the key points mentioned. Listen, try it, embrace it. use it, and crush it. Now's your time to hit that next level in your life. If you liked this episode, then please leave a comment on the show notes or a review of the show on your podcast platform. Everything helps evolve the show. Until next week, keep seeking the next level in your life.